All right, it is 6:45, and I'm going to call this meeting of the New Philadelphia City Council Finance Committee to order. I see that Mr. Crimebill is here, Mr. Lonzer is here, and our alternate, Mrs. Ramos, also here, so thank you for being here tonight. We are here to discuss and not take any action tonight, because we've had some language questions from the auditor and the treasurer that I think we need to get cleared up before we put this into an ordinance and pass it. But I did want to go through section 3, where we talk about the percentages, and make sure that this committee is still comfortable with those amounts, so that we don't have to revise this again. And this, of course, would be going forward. Basically, if we pass it at our next meeting, it would start in April, more or less. Last couple of days of March, but more or less April. So that would give us essentially 3 of the 4 quarters for these percentages to be used for the income tax allocation. The concerns in section 1, there's some things about the distribution that I think the auditor and the treasurer would like us to clear up, so that we have language that they're sure they're doing it right. And we can have those discussions with the law director, and then come back before our next regularly scheduled meeting to put this out to be passed on emergency.
Do we need to make more changes?
We'd like to discuss section 1 in a little more detail
Okay.
about the disbursements and the collections. There's some confusion there that I think we want to clear up before we pass it.
Okay.
So I would throw the floor open to any discussion you have, basically on section 3, where we talk about the allocations of the income tax, where it's going to be going. As you remember from our work session, we talked about putting 8% into the master capital fund until the $300,000 threshold was met. 65% going into the general fund. We increased to 4% for the cemetery fund, knowing that that's still probably not enough to fully fund them, but we have the ability to transfer money in from the general fund, and we're getting advice that that's the best way to work. 11% of that going into the 265 pension fund, and another 12% that goes to the street department directly in the 203. So, any questions about or discussion about those percentages tonight?
I brought up in our work section, I'm still a little concerned, but I know we can't take it from this about, the street department, because we had the water and wastewater come and say how everything's going up, and what do? We increase rates to cover that. And street department's no different. Salt's going up, asphalt's going up, the roads got beat up, probably the worst we've seen in many years. So I brought that up last Thursday in our work session, and I still just have concerns there, but I know we gotta leave this how it is, but I just hope when we're looking at budget that we are considering what to do to help that over there too. That's the only comment I wanted to make on the record, so.
I'd like to comment also that I completely agree with Chris on that, a lot of things down there we need.
Don't disagree. I don't disagree at all.
Unfortunately, we need a lot of things everywhere, but I just know that one's, I think it's, looking at the numbers that I've looked at, I think it's really a problem in driving around on our roads right now. It's gonna be an issue.
All the
And
other
I'm sure they
departments
gotta replace a lot
need
of
the
stuff.
roads to get to do what they're
Yeah.
doing.
So, but I'm okay with the numbers, and I understand why they are what they are.
Thank you. And I don't disagree with you. You understand why they are what they are, and as do I, unfortunately. There's only so much pie to cut up. Any other questions, comments, discussion about this? As I said, I think we want to get the language worked out to the auditors, and between the auditor and the law director, to make sure that we're all on the same page and have exactly how she wants to have that worded for the distributions before we pass this into legislation. So I would ask this body if you're willing to just kind of table any action on it until we can get that taken care of, and then we'll get back together before our next regularly scheduled meeting and hopefully have this and a full budget that we can put together and pass at the same time. Does that work for the committee?
Yeah.
Is there any other business to come before us tonight?
Well, I had a question. When are
Okay.
we gonna see a budget? We are working on those, and the numbers are still a little too high for a couple of the funds. Like I said, this is not going to give cemetery enough revenue. We're going to need to transfer some money in from the general fund still. Even if I just take the same percentages of what each department within general fund used last year, every budget that was submitted for general fund except for treasurer's office is less than last year's, and I forget one other office, but there are 3 offices within the general fund that are over the same percentage that they used last year. But I don't know that I'd say those out loud or anything, or just, we definitely need to get with those departments to get those, cut some even more. But it's just, yeah.
The numbers that we went through last week,
Yes.
though, have been shared and are out to people with targets?
No.
What we discussed
I
on Friday?
do have it here.
Okay.
That's why I didn't know if I should,
Okay.
I'd just
Yeah,
rather do that.
the sooner you can get those to
Yes.
department heads so they know what they're working
Yes,
with,
I
the sooner they
received-
can decide how to get it done.
I received several revised budgets on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I would thought those were going to come in less, but they actually came in more. And, so that was disappointing, but
And in any way that I can help you, give me a call. I'll make myself
Okay.
available.
alrighty, thank you.
Anybody with any other business for the committee?
Since you still got 8 more minutes, I had asked the law director a question, and I would like him to answer it so everybody can hear it, because I didn't know the answer. What happens if we don't pass this budget by the end of March?
If the budget's not passed by April 1st, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5705.38, you can no longer pay bills or employees without appropriations. That's pursuant to 5705.41. Pursuant to ORC 118.03, that would trigger a fiscal emergency under the Ohio Revised Code. If we default on any debt, can't do the payroll on time, the state auditor would declare a fiscal emergency per ORC 118.04. A commission is then created to control the city's finances. There's a financial plan that must be adopted, and everything's got to be appropriated by the state at that point. And the commission controls everything until the city regains solvency. And of course, the folks here that know we have some that have banking experience knows that what that could do to our credit rating.
I was curious, because I was new on council on what it, I thought maybe someone else might be curious too, so I'm glad, I wanted Marvin to let me know and share that, so I was just curious.
And it underscores the urgency of what we're working on.
Correct.
If we need to have another reading, I mean,
Yeah.
we gotta get it done,
We
so if we need to schedule other meetings, let's do it.
We will do it as soon as we have something to meet on.
If
When
anybody
I-
wants to look at the code sections, I brought them with me.
So those revised budgets that I got this, so I was hoping that they were going to come in less. I did identify a few lines that were, they didn't have those expenses in last year's budget. I think they could probably put it off till next year's budget, or, yeah, so there is some specific lines that I do have my eyes on, but it's still not, it's still will be very tight. There's, yeah. Without going into too much detail, because we got,
Yeah.
Just let me know when you need the legislation
Yep.
and send me the final budget and. I'll-
well, if you want to do like we've done in this past year, create the legislation, and then we'll just give
Yeah,
you the
I'll do that.
attachment
I'll create the
to-
legislation, send it out to everybody, and we'll go from there.
Yes.
And I would like these folks to have a chance to look at it before we meet, so that
That's
they
what I
know
was
what
gonna
they're.
ask,
Yes.
is there a deadline that we
Yeah.
should be setting for those to be sent to the department heads?
I can send these
And
yeah,
then-
right away. It's just, the thing that I was struggling with, that, these budgets, they're over budget, and so I was taking it all upon myself to try to figure out how to reduce these, but, just, I was just told, give them the number, they can, and now we worked through the number, and, so yes,
So you're saying that the expenses are over what their revenue
yes,
is?
yes.
And they haven't had a chance to look at what the revenue is that you've allocated to them?
No, but they've gone way above and beyond what even last year's was, and.
And you've
yeah.
accounted for the additional money in the investment income, the additional money from Ray, the increase in the water rates,
That's right, yeah.
the real estate taxes.
Those didn't have anything, well, the real estate taxes, but, like
For
the
the
water
most
rates
part,
and
Michelle,
things.
we're looking at the 101, which
Yeah,
is
the
the
general
income tax
fund.
and the
Which-
general fund.
Yeah, and that involves.
Yeah,
the
all of
safety
our-
forces funds.
The majority of
The
the other
enterprises
budgets
are
are,
fine.
are in good shape. It's the general fund that we're working on this.
And then it also affects the street department, that's why there's not enough money to allow for paving and extra vehicles, because all our revolves around the general fund. If we give that to them, then we have to take even less from,
So are you going to do a review of the allocation of the administration wages like we talked about today? That would probably
I have
reduce the
not,
expense.
yeah, I have not done that, and,
And the
I think it would
professional
probably be a-
services and the exam fees.
yes, the professional services, we did talk in a meeting that we would be separating.
Divided some of that out, yes.
Yes, and, with the other funds. And that would be for the financial statements, allocating the
Mhm.
financial statements to other departments, since those are the most time, those departments that are very time consuming to collect data.
Hey Marvin, I don't know if I should ask you or who I should ask for. On this ordinance here, can you get me the 23, 24, and 25?
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you want a signed copy or the one that I drafted?
Just whatever, I mean,
Okay.
they don't have to be signed. I'd just like to see where it was in 23, where it was in 24, and where it was in 25.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you need to sign one, we gotta get
24,
that from the
25.
clerk, but I can definitely get you what I drafted.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, if I could see that, I would appreciate it.
Anything else? Hearing none, I would entertain Dan's motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
I didn't hear that. eh?
I'm on. Okay, it's 7 o'clock and I'm calling the zoning annexation committee meeting to order. We have myself, Cheryl Ramos, the chair, and committee members Dan Lonzer and Tom Similek with us. And so the reason of the meeting tonight is to consider the following. Proposed Resolution 3/2026 is giving the mayor or the designee authority to execute petitions to annex city-owned property located in Goshen Township into the city. The parcels are listed on the legislation, and it's, to kind of give you a location, it's like the Roswell railroad tracks going to Roswell. And that goes little past the Red Onion on State Route 39 East. So you kind of localize that in your mind. There is an unnamed parcel, which I talked to Larry Loudermilk this morning. I've had a number of conversations with him, but he did tell me that the unnamed parcel, which the deed has been included in the legislation, will be given a number when the petition to annex goes to the county. So there's not a number now, but it will be given a number. So I did forward documents, the legislation, the map, and the deed to the committee and all of city council. They have received all those documents, and including the map. So, any questions from the committee, any comments?
This parcel has to do with this Philly school proposal too, is that correct?
Well, yeah, that's kind of the idea of the planning commission to the mayor is, that's past that property. But also, yeah, so they can annex in, which is part of their bond issue or tax increase or whatever. And it's also, that's a direction the city can expand out that way.
Okay, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the city owns the property,
Yeah.
but it's never been annexed. It makes sense for a lot of reasons.
So what they want to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, that we own the property, but it's, if they want to annex it in, so then the properties that are next to the parcels we own, we put them in the city, they would be contiguous, and then whoever owns those properties can annex, and it's kind of like a snowball effect.
Okay. It's good. It's good. It's good for the city. The city needs more.
We need growth.
We need growth.
I have a question. They will not be required to annex in, though, they would just will have the option to annex in.
I can answer that, if you would like me to.
Okay, yes,
Madam Chairman.
please.
It would be up to the property owner if they want to annex in. All this does was make that property contiguous, but it's my understanding that the property owners do intend to petition to annex in once this land is contiguous, which would give us a significant chunk of land in the city of New Philadelphia for development.
Is that
So
all along
this-
the trail?
Opposite
Right there by
side.
our trail, yeah.
The
whole-
opposite side too, then the school's looking at buying this side, they plan on annexing in as well, from what I understand, right?
For development.
Potentially,
Other
yeah.
other development,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that, but
It's the
it's
same
just.
owner, it's just across.
Oh,
the street.
okay, yeah, kind of, I was looking at the GIS map, it kind of split across parcels. But this, from what I understand, reading it, was it gives the mayor or a designate, or a designee the authority to ask, follow the process to
Yeah,
petition it.
When
This doesn't annex, it just starts the process.
Well, it annexes our land, it annexes our land.
Yeah, but Well, no, what I mean is, this
Yeah.
particular piece is just on the railroad tracks that we own.
Correct.
It's just a little,
Opens the corridor.
And
Yeah. Quarter, that's a good word.
if I may, I can address what you're pointing out. To annex in city-owned land, it's a far simpler process than annexing in other land. You skip a whole bunch of steps, there's no need for a public hearing. All the legislation tonight does is give the mayor the right to file the paperwork to complete the annexation. That's all it does. And there's a specific form that I designed to get to the mayor, and he just fills that out, signs it, and sends it over to the county.
And then Goshen Township has to give approval, right? Or no?
No, we own this land.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out why we needed a half hour. I thought there was something more complicated.
No, not for this step. So as this snowballs, it'll get
Well, no,
a little more complicated.
well, no, you just allocated 30 minutes, and I was like, this should be like 4 seconds, like we're annexing our own land in. That's why I didn't know what I was missing. So I wasn't missing anything. This is that easy.
We just own it in Goshen Township, so this starts a process to get that into the city.
Take your win, Chris.
Yes.
even if the school does not acquire and use that property, we need to have land to expand. We need land for growth. You know, we need to facilitate that any way we can to support that. I think that's your
Yeah.
underlying motive, right? Yeah.
Correct. Any other questions from the committee? Council? You already did. Administration, and that leaves you.
I know where Tom's going, and it's true, because, the annexation piece is, if we've always had our council is, if they want our water and sewer, they're gonna have to annex into them. So having this there, annexing it in, and then the ability of using that, railroad bed for utilities just makes sense. Cheaper to dig in some virgin soil versus digging out through 39 or on the side of the hill or anything like that. They've got enough room to keep the 10-foot separation between water and sewer through EPA regulations, so the trail just makes perfect sense for the utilities also versus them laying alongside 39 and trying to get in the right of way on the side of the hill and all that, so that piece of property just makes sense all the way around for future development.
And Ron brings up another point about this, everybody wants water and sewer. And I think in the old days when we granted water and sewer to a lot of people that then did not ask them to annex, I would have never voted for that.
Right.
And that day is gone.
And if anybody wants to run water and sewer, they have to pay for it, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
They
As far
pay
as-
for it?
As far as
Hookup.
what, I guess?
So building it and running it out and all the labor, all the cost to do that, the city
We've
doesn't
had
pay
some-
for it.
We had some allotments around here that we supply some pipe for. We was gonna do a little bit for the school too. Nothing, they have $4 million in it, so, but let's just be real. I mean, it's a public meeting. I don't think that's gonna pass, so we're doing it for really nothing for the school, to be honest with you. I mean, we're doing it for future expansion of the city, for housing.
Well, and that, it doesn't matter just the school, but anybody that like has housing, they
Again-
have to pay for that to be
Again,
run.
we've helped before with other allotments, so it's a case-by-case thing, but I'm not saying we would help, and I'm not saying we wouldn't help, I guess.
Okay, because it's pretty costly, I think.
Well, we don't have to make that
Could be
decision
a
today.
negotiation
That's way
of some
down the
sort,
road,
I assume.
right?
Sure, I mean, you'd have to weigh it, if it's 700 homes, you might wanna get a little more involved in it, but if it's 13, I mean, again, you know, that's all based off of, you know, or if they're gonna build a,
Hypothetical.
you know, some big factory out there.
Sign
You
me
might
up.
do something, yeah,
Sign me
sign
up.
me up, right? You know, 700 employees. So it's all relative. So it's not, that's why I don't say yes or no. Absolutely won't,
Nice
because,
spot for Amazon
It's-
distribution center.
yeah, right? It's based off of what may go out there, what we wanna add.
Better be
Nice.
careful talking about that. You'll get a lot of people up there fired up if you start talking about
Yeah,
that.
probably.
John Baker's over here gonna put it in the paper
Yeah, yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's why I don't wanna, I wouldn't say yes or no, you know what I mean, so.
It encourages development one way or the other.
Sure.
Whether it's a school or housing or
Sure,
commercial,
sure, absolutely.
Growth.
right?
It's our own property.
Just gonna say, it makes sense because it's already ours.
Ron, I mean, that trail, we're already spending some money on the trailhead or something, right? Was that part of one of the grants we got last year that we talked about? I mean, this is that same piece of
Yeah.
property.
Yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah, we're already investing in
Right.
the trail. Okay, any more from administration? Any questions, comments? Okay, the public, any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, to my committee, do I have, anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make, what do you want the motion, what is the motion?
That we put it
Resolution
on the agenda tonight, and I think you said we could pass it an emergency, or?
I
next
would
time?
recommend passing it, because all this is doing is giving the mayor the authority to submit paperwork to annex in land that we own. I see no reason why delay that.
So I move we put it on tonight's agenda as an emergency and pass it first reading.
I'll second that. Proposed resolution 3.
Okay, I'll take a vote. Mr. Similik,
Yes.
Mr. Lund,
Yes.
and I will vote yes as well. Any other matters you can think of to come to the committee? There might be one coming up. I'll ask you about the vacated alley. Did we find information on that? Does
I
that,
sent a thing to, you saw the email that I sent out, asking if there was any information on that, or where that stood. I have not heard back on it.
okay. Yeah, me neither. So maybe, Ron, do you have any information on?
Nope.
Okay, nope. So that may be coming up, as soon as we get some information on that. Okay, I need an emotion to adjourn.
Dan can do this.
So moved.
Tom, okay, you raise your hand. That counts.
The official adjourner.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
All right, it's 7:30. This meeting in New Philadelphia City Council come to order. Please rise and remain standing for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Mr. Griffith.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would you join me in prayer? Most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this community and all who live and work here, for the opportunity that you give us to serve our neighbors here on this city council. We would ask that you just grant us wisdom in our deliberations, courage to do what's right even when it's not easy, and in a spirit of fairness and respect toward one another and toward all who are affected by our decisions, to just keep your will in mind as we make those decisions. Help us to seek common ground, Lord. Help us to work for the betterment of this city as a whole so that we can bring glory to you through your Son, Jesus, in whose name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, and welcome everybody, and we'll start with roll call.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Here.
Mr. Lodzer.
Here.
Mrs. Ramos.
Here.
Mr. Rippett.
Present.
Mr. Sears.
Here.
Mr. Simile.
Present.
Mr. Walker.
Okay, let it be known that Mr. Walker is excused for tonight's council meeting. All right, everybody had a chance to review the agenda for tonight. Are there any additions? Yes, Mrs. Ramos.
I would like to add Resolution 3, 2026.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lancer. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Rippett.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Are there any other additions to tonight's agenda? All right, hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight. Thank you, Mr. Cranville. Need a second?
Yes.
Mr. Ripper, thank you. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Rippett.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
All right, our agenda has been approved. Everybody's had a chance to look at the minutes from our last council meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Ripper, thank you. In this second,
I'll second.
thank you, Mr. Lanzer. In discussion of administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Rippett.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
All right, minutes have been approved. Correspondence, Ms. Courtright.
To council and administration from Mayor Day dated February 24th, 2026. This is an email titled Financial Health Indicators. To council and administration from Mayor Day dated February 26th, 2026. This is an email titled Agenda for a 3 p.m. Budget Work Session. To council and administration from Municipal Court Administrator Judith Ziegel dated February 27th, 2026. This is the New Philadelphia Municipal Court 2025 Annual Report. To council and administration from Income Tax Administrator Carly Luce dated March 2nd, 2026. This is the February month-end report. To council and administration from Auditor Heather Denham dated March 3rd, 2026. This is a reply to the Income Tax Department report with the Income Tax Department's December 2025 Income Tax Revenue and Refunds Report, as well as the 2025 Income Tax Year-End Totals Report with additional details, and the January 26th, 2026 and February 2026 month-end reports. To council and administration from Executive Administrative Assistant to the Mayor Jamie Bailey dated March 3rd, 2026. This is the February month-end report. To council and administration from Mayor Day dated March 4th, 2026. This is the Mayor's Annual State of the City Report. To council and administration from Danielle DeMatteo with the Auditor's Office dated March 5th, 2026. This is the February month-end report. To President Kemp from Law Director Fate dated March 6, 2026. This is an email titled, "Please assign to Mr. Rippeth's committee with Ordinance 3, 2026 attached." President Kemp asked Mr. Rippeth to take the legislation into his committee. To Law Director Fate from Auditor Denham, in reply to the previous email, the email states the following: Marvin, this ordinance will need to be revised to exclude number 1 under section 2. Law Director Fate sent a revised ordinance to the council clerk. To council clerk from the Ohio Department of Commerce Division of Liquor Control dated March 3rd, 2026. Responses must be postmarked no later than April 2nd, 2026. This is a C2, C2X liquor license request from Bell Stores Incorporated, Bell Store 1176 drive-through, 729 South Broadway, New Philadelphia, Ohio. I sent the request to President Kemp to place in the proper committee, and President Kemp asked Mr. Walker to take the request into his committee. And to Council and Administration from Treasurer Campbell dated March 9th, 2026. This is the Treasurer's Investment and Savings Report for February of 2026. And that concludes correspondence for this evening.
All right, thank you, Ms. Courtwright. We'll move into our ministry reports. Mayor Day is not with us. He's in DC and take care of some business for the city down there, so we have no report. I don't know, Mr. Milliken, anything the mayor wanted you to talk about tonight?
No, sir.
All right, then we'll move on to the service director, Mr. McAveer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. I want to bring everybody updated on a few projects that are ongoing throughout the city. I don't know if everybody noticed the House of Stones quadrant there. We had to remove the trees there, the honey locust that was there. Originally, in the original plan, they wanted those to stay. But if anybody had noticed, the earth mounded there and try to keep those. And so that would have taken raising the like curbage around there, I guess to say for lack of a better word, and then bring up some grading to get it down to the catch basin that's there. And that change order came in at around $29,000. We have roughly $31,000 of retainage for anything that may happen there. So we made a decision to remove those trees. Decision made because of, right now, the project's about 32% complete. So you do the math on what's left and what we think is gonna happen between the next 68% of that, or 68% of that to be complete. Each quadrant we've been in, both quadrants have already been in. I'm sure we're gonna get into another electrical issue in the Gavin's quadrant. Again, because like I've said before, concrete's done, the conduit's laid right under it or in it. So I'm sure there's gonna be a patch there. Those have typically ran between 17 and 22,000 for each change order on those. So I would say we predict that also in this one. So the decision was made to remove those trees. We removed them on our own. General Services went up there Friday, removed them, and then with the help of Rule Company, they came over with their small little track hoe and was pulled them out, pulled them off to the side, and then we came up this morning and moved them out of there. And so they started putting stonework in there now to do that. We will have some money reinstalling some trees, but I already got a price from our local arborist, our local landscaper, about $7,400 for that, and that'll be installed price. We'll put about 8 footers back in. They grow at a pretty fast rate. After talking with him, trying a 14-footer would probably be choked off. So the ones that we're putting in about 8 foot will surpass the 14-footers just the way they're balled up at the nursery, talking to Mr. Pace. So that is why the trees have been removed, and I just want to make sure that everybody understood that. Again, with that increase, and you only have that much left, and, 68% of the project's still out there, you're playing with fire in my mind. So we made that decision, and we'll move on from that decision. Also, which I had a reminder set And I haven't heard anybody talk about it, which I'm surprised. So the RFBs that was going out at Tuscarora Park, made contact with D.L. Smith. If everybody remembers, back in October 9th was when we thought we ordered everything, supposedly from D.L. Smith. I have a reminder set in my calendar, approximately almost just after the meeting, so a week and a half ago. Reached out. He comes back today saying that Pathmaster, which we're gonna get the RFBs from, unfortunately said they didn't order them. So the 12 to 16 week that was before that, back on, October 9th that I thought,
Yes.
he said he had no PO and they would not order them, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, but long story short, okay everything tomorrow, and we still have 12 to 16 weeks. I said, you understand that you're gonna be out there installing them in the busiest time of the year? He says, I understand, but, so, again, just wanted to update everybody on that. So if anybody asked, I know people have asked that. I'm surprised I haven't got a call on it. But like I said, I set my reminder because that was supposed to be the day that they should supposed to come in. Got the bad news just today that another 12 to 16 weeks. But I wanted everybody to understand where we are with that and why, according to D.L. Smith. Also, the Southside Restroom Pavilion, reached out with Gorcon today. They assured me it'd be done by the end of this month. It's been an ongoing project. There was a couple guys down there yet today working. I think it's pitchy patch as far as, guys here, guys there. The typical stuff sometimes with contractors, but they did assure me by the end of this month they would get it done. And I know he knows that not only the city, or not only me, but the city's not 100% happy with that, but we'll get through it like we do every project, but just want to make everybody aware of that. Also, after the guys from General Services picked up the branches and the stumps and everything this morning, they went out on cold mix, so they went out and patched. Tomorrow, we're hoping to put out Durapatch and cold mix. So the Durapatch, we usually put that in most of your alleys most of the time versus the main roads. So both of those should be out tomorrow with the manpower and get those started again. We'll ramp those up because, as we see, there's plenty of them. They went down on Delaware today. There's down on South Broadway also today. But continue to, that'll be their job for a while until we can get some hot mix. Hot mix is usually, and I have not talked with Jeff Gesner at Newton, so I'm not holding him to anything, but typically they start going about the second week of April. So once we get hot mix, make those permanent patches, it'll be a lot better for us because most of you guys see them go out with the cold mix and it's a temporary patch. Everybody knows that, it's no surprise, everybody deals with throughout the Ohio. So again, those are temporary, but we try to get in. Believe it or not, I believe the Durapatcher works a little nicer, but it's just not very good on, because of the tar and everything, so we can cone it off and try to keep it in there better, but we'll do those in the alleys again. Like I say, both crews will be out next, or tomorrow, in the next week here, until we get up to the hot mix days. That can't come soon enough, so we start making those permanent repairs. Also, I'd like to say that last Friday, February the 6th, I guess you'd say, the mayor and I had went around to each and every department with Treasurer Campbell, and I urge each and every one of you also to do the same thing. I think it was eye-opening, and when you're talking about a clarifier or the salt bins or something at the water department, but I'll let her expand on that, but it was nice to actually spend some time with Michelle and actually to go through in each and every one of the departments. So thank you for that. That's the end of my report. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. McAbee? Thank you, Mr. McAbee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director, Mr. Milligan.
Thank you, Mr. President, council and guests. I'm gonna talk a little bit briefly tonight, just on some annual report numbers for both departments, and maybe give a more in-depth point later. For the fire department, they responded to 3,569 calls, about 80% of them EMS related, and out of those, about 12% in Goshen Township. That's about flat, it's sustained, it's plus or minus maybe 1%, so I call that flat, as far as call volume over the last couple of years. From a staffing perspective, the department remains down 5 full-time firefighter and paramedics, so that's creating some challenges and some impact on service, calls for service and our impact to service the city there. We completed 977 inspections. I see Inspector Schultz in the house this evening. I just want to appreciate the work he does and the impact he's having here in the city, and not only reducing structure fires, but also impacting our false alarms. We've worked with this body to put a new ordinance in place to give him a little more tools to work in reducing false alarms, and we've had success over that, so I appreciate his due diligence. And out of those 977 inspections, he re-inspected 167 times and only had to issue 1 citation, so I appreciate his work and due diligence and working with those businesses to become in compliance with the fire code. On a public relations perspective, we distributed 238 smoke detectors throughout the community and conducted some fire extinguishing classes to about 200 some residents in the city of Philadelphia. Last year, we implemented fireworks software, a long overdue upgrade in the fire department to give us the ability to better analyze our data to make some strategic decisions moving forward, not only operating but administratively. So we look forward to continue to enhance that product this year, to assure that we have the appropriate data going in so we can get the most accurate data coming out. So that is a strategic goal of ours in 2026. Certainly, you heard me mention we completed rounding in the fire department. We were able to compile the findings from that. I met with both chiefs to discuss a strategic plan. We were scheduled to have a kickoff today of that, but was interrupted due to a call for service. So that's been rescheduled for next week, and I look forward to sharing those findings with council. So 2026, we're looking to, 1, complete our 5-year strategic plan, evaluate the current operating model. It's no secret that I've looked at that. It's the same model that's been several years in place, so we're looking to what options we have available to change that operating model to make it more operational ready, plus more fiscally sustainable. And we'll be looking to realign our leadership to meet those models, and then currently evaluating our operational readiness along with our funding source that it will take to achieve our 5-year strategic plan. For the police department, 15,551 calls since 2023. That is a 28% increase in calls. Also, from a staffing perspective, they're still down 2 police officers. 808 crashes in the city of Philadelphia, 1 fatality. 303 felony cases presented to common pleas in the court, common pleas court and juvenile for charging. We dedicate 1 detective to the task force here in Tuscarawas County for the drug task force. They've continued to make a significant impact in Tuscarawas and Holmes County with large seizures of fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamines. So just proud of the work that I think Officer Dorsey does with that group in the Tuscarawas County Drug Task Force. I want to talk a little bit just about our auxiliary. It's something we don't often talk about, but it's a very important part of that department. They work 2,600, over 2,600 hours for us, volunteering their time as auxiliary officers, helping us in major events. They help us with different events throughout the city. They also come out and do routine patrol to help supplement our force. And so we couldn't be as successful without them. So we appreciate their time and dedication that they dedicate to the city and give their time to support the police department. Goals will be similar in 2026 for the police department. We've started the rounding process there. It's not complete. Chief Bahovey has done her part. They're waiting on me. And we will also be kicking off a 5-year strategic planning process looking at operational model, leadership alignment, along with operational readiness, technology, and looking at our funding sources also. That's it for my report.
Lots of
Couple
information.
quick question, couple. On the false alarm thing, did that legislation and dealing with that particular hotel,
They've come into, they're not fully in compliance yet. They certainly came a long way.
have they been fined?
Yes, I think there was a total dollars of around $2,000 they were fined so far.
But
So-
we having some progress here.
Absolutely. Still progress.
They are
Oh, they're in full compliance now,
Fully
so
compliant.
progress is complete.
So we did make progress. The increase in calls from the police department were about 30%.
Since 2023.
Yeah. What kind of calls are you responsible for? That's a big increase.
Yeah, it's a broad topic. One of the limiting resources we currently have in the reporting system at the police department is how data is classified. So, general calls get logged into dispatch, and it's hard to really break down the details from that perspective. Traffic enforcement's actually stayed, it's a little bit elevated, but pretty flat. So these are true call for services that we see. We have seen a slight increase in domestic calls that we respond to, calls for disturbances, suspicious person activity. Those have increased a pretty dramatic amount. I don't know if that's based on see something, say something, but we appreciate when the community sees something and says something, so we don't mind responding to those. But I'm working with Captain Rossi inside their current data system to see if we can better refine what those calls are. The system will tell us where they're at, northwest, northeast, north-south, so we've got an idea of the quadrants. Probably no surprise, the most busiest is northwest. But we're having a challenge just getting to that granular level that we really need, I think, to have an impact.
What kind of stuff?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what do we do to try to mitigate that?
Yeah, technology is certainly probably gonna be a big key to our future. As staffing challenges continue to be a challenge, how can we utilize technology to offset some of that? Computer crimes and AI is something that we've been vetting to see how that can assist us here locally within our department. And that'll be part of our strategic planning process.
I think it would be interesting to know what part of the cities have been, the activity level in different, because you got wards over here. They'd probably like to know, is their ward
Yeah.
seeing a lot more activity or a lot less activity?
Yeah, if you look in your annual report, I believe that Chief Bohovi sent out, it breaks it down by quadrant there for you, so you can look where the northwest is our busiest sector. So I'm grinning at Cheryl, she's looking at me because she's seen the report, I guess, but yeah, it should be in your annual report you received. Not be happy to send that to you, that breaks it down.
Cheryl's neighborhood.
That's mine,
I
that's
wasn't gonna say
mine.
that.
Those are your people.
Kevin, one more question. You said you're 5 short on fire department, 2 on police?
So safety forces right now, we're down 7.
Okay. Do you foresee any of that changing in '26 or not? I mean, what's your plan there? I know you're making do, but.
Yeah, so, I was I've just presented some revenue numbers here before the meeting, so I need time to ingest that, to be honest with you. We certainly feel, in the fire department, we did an assessment once those additional 3 left. By not replacing them, what the impact's gonna be, it's actually gonna cost us about, replacement versus hiring, if we choose not to do that, about an additional $60,000. So it's actually costing us more not to do it, based on the contract. So we did that level of assessment. We're looking at the impact of calls we're missing, our service, the ability to provide the service, and then the police department. They've been down 2 for quite some time, and seeing that type of increase is having a toll. Just to be candid with you, as we talk to our officers in the department, is having a significant toll. And when you look at those overtime numbers and what those officers are working, it reflects that. So I have some work to do, it appears, and maybe better to answer that question for you in the next few days or so.
I guess the next 20-ish.
Yeah, I've got
Okay.
20 days to figure it out. So.
Thanks, Kevin.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Milligan. Auditor, Mrs. Denham.
Thank you, Mr. President and Council. So we're still working on our financial statements, of course, and we're working on several policies throughout the department. It seems the city is very lacking in policies. And we're having to start from scratch, not just revise. We have to start from scratch with several new policies. And we're still answering, since our audit was finished late in the year, and it was just released in February, that we're now getting requests for corrective action plans from some of the issues that were found in the audits. And we've actually even just received last week before, a request for a corrective action plan on the 2023 audit. So, we're still going back to past audits with some organizations asking for corrective action plans. So hopefully we can just create one big plan and we can just start, because most of this has to do with the grants that, and the projects that aren't being reported to our office. And so once they get translated into the financial statements, if we're not aware of certain things or certain projects, or, and they don't get reported correctly on the financial statements, we're getting called out on those after the audit. So we have to come up with corrective action plans. Good news is, when I first stepped into this role, I was hit with 3 IRS penalties for prior years. I just got the final word last week that the last of the 3 has been dismissed. So all 3 IRS civil suits and penalties have all been dismissed. So out of a total of, I believe, $212,000 fines, we only had to pay $1,207. And, yeah, so we're continuing to work on, you know, our day-to-day plus the budget. When the department submitted the budgets back in October, November, I had stated that they need to be reduced. I got revised budgets at the end of last week, and they were actually higher instead of being reduced. So I've said all along, I've said since the end of 2024, when I stepped into this position, we don't have the revenue to support the expenses that are being turned in on budgets. And if you didn't submit a lower budget, then it's just, things are gonna have to be cut. And with talking to the state, there's a lot of things that I thought I might have control over, I don't have control over. Once a budget is approved, it's approved, and it's a council that, you know, if it's approved, then I have to pay it. If we've got the cash, I have to pay it. But, and also, I just forwarded, I forgot, somebody had asked me during the last financial meeting to forward the employee handbooks, the revised employee handbooks that I received last month. And I just wanted to note that I had no input. I wasn't aware that it was being revised, and so once it was revised, I found out when everybody else did. I did oppose the new employee handbook and the changes that were in the handbook. However, they were not rescinded, so the departments will be left to find the additional, you know, cut expenses somewhere else to be able to afford the additional incentives and payouts that the non-bargaining will receive with the new handbook. And of course, the ongoing budget issues that's been going on for years, and now we've basically ran out of savings, and so we're living on the revenue that's current revenue coming in. Not in all funds, mainly general fund. I have to, once again, say, you know, you can't look at our financials as a grand total. You have to look at those particular funds that are mainly driven by income tax revenue. So the general fund, the safety forces, the street department, and the cemetery department, our income tax department, of course, and our street lighting department. Those are all the ones that are really taking the hit on the, you know, the expenses need to be cut. And I've said that all along, so that's all I have for now.
All right, any questions for Mrs. Denham? All right, thank you.
Thank
Auditor, Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, treasurer, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I've done
I
that
just
twice.
responded. So the treasurer's report that was sent out shows that our interest income for the month of February was $28,912.24. You can see the uptick in the interest income from January over February for the First Fed money market account. So that should start to help some of our shortfalls. And then, we are working on, filing with the state, the unclaimed funds as a first-time filer. We have a 10-year look-back period. We have 120 days to become compliant, and, we only have to file 1 report for a 10-year period, not 10 individual reports, because we did a voluntary compliance. So we're working on that, and Ron had, State Service Director had mentioned that, I spent Friday with them, and all I have to say is if you have not taken a tour of the departments, and I've asked Kevin to kind of let me piggyback the next time he takes through the, safety services to kind of go through the same thing, but we really need to go look and see what the condition is of the departments, because when he says that there is no department that does more with less, it's pretty eye-opening. So for us to sit here and make decisions based on, not seeing the conditions, we really need to do that. And I would advocate for saying it's an annual thing that we need to do right before budget time.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Treasurer? All right, thank you, Ms. Campbell. Law Director, Mr. Fate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to first welcome all of our, my fellow Quakers back there in the back. You're all government students, I presume, and that's why you're in here. Now, is that still a senior level course? Junior level course, okay. It was a senior level course when I was there. We took American
They're
history.
smarter now.
Yeah, they are way smarter. They're probably smarter than I am right now.
In 8th grade now, Marvin.
But welcome. There's a lot of former Quakers here in the room, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to welcome you. Briefly, I'm the law director for the city of New Philadelphia. In short, that makes me the attorney for the city. What I want to ask, Mr. President, I'm going to explain this to them also so they understand what's happening. I'm requesting an executive session to discuss pending or threatened litigation. And what happens in executive session, and if you haven't been taught this yet, is Ohio law allows public bodies to go into executive session for particular legal reasons. These are reasons that must be kept confidential by law. That means that none of the public can be a part of those meetings. So unfortunately, you have to leave, although maybe fortunately, because as you can tell as a trial attorney, I talk a lot. We'll excuse everybody that's not involved in the meeting at that time. We can't have the public in there during that. And then we'll come back in session after the meeting, so you want to stick around if you want to see the entire meeting. But some of the issues that we do is pending or threatened litigation. That's something that has to be kept confidential. And personnel matters. Those are the ones that we frequently go into executive session for, and I've just requested one for threatened or pending litigation that I need to brief counsel on. So that's what happens. We're not allowed to take any votes in executive session. We're not allowed to record what's going on in executive session. It's really to brief the members on something that has to be kept confidential by law. So, Mr. President, if you could ask for executive session, I'd appreciate it.
I need a motion to go into, Mr. Cranville, need a second. Mr. River, thank you. In discussion by administration, council,
When is it?
we'll do it tonight after, before we go into legislative.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Cranville.
Yes.
Mr. Rippett.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
All right.
One thing additional, Mr. President. I've asked the fire chief and Captain Schultz to be here because they're going to be part of my discussion, so they will be in our executive session.
Okay, very good. All right, we move on to our board commission reports. Joel, thank you for the planning commission. Ron?
There will be no planning commission tomorrow here at 1 PM in the council chambers, but there will be one for sure in April, go over a new housing allotment on the southeast side of New Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. Board of Zoning Appeals, Mr. McAbeer.
With no variance requests to be heard, Mr. President, there will be no Board of Zoning Appeals tomorrow here at 5 PM.
All right, thank you. Airport Commission, Mr. Lonzer.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Airport Commission will be meeting tomorrow evening at 6 PM at the Harry Cleaver Field Airport Meeting Room.
All right, thank you. Park Board, Mr. Sears.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report. The park board will be meeting March 18th. It's a Wednesday at 12 noon at the Park Pavilion.
All right, thank you. Health Board, Mr. Simmelink.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Health Board will be meeting Wednesday at noon in this room.
All right, Thank you. Now, council committee reports, finance,
Thank-
Mr. Rippeth.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met this evening here in council chambers. We were called to order at 6:45. We had some discussion about ordinance number 3, 2026, which is the income tax allocation. We need to make some corrections or some changes to that wording and plan to bring that back up at our next meeting and pass forward for legislation. We adjourned at 6:57.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rippeth. Public Works and Economic Development, Mr. Alonso.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
All right. Safety, Health, and Service, Mr. Simulink.
Thank you, Mr. President, no report tonight.
Zone and Annexation, Mrs. Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Zoning Annexation Committee met tonight at 7 o'clock to discuss Resolution 3, 2026, which is a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute annexation petitions for city-owned property, which is along the railroad tracks to Roswell. We own that property. And we've got a whole list of the property to be annexed, but he's petitioning the county to annex, so we're starting that process. So we're putting that on the agenda tonight. So that's my report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ramos. Salary, Mr. Cranbill.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report.
Cemetery, Mr. Sears.
Thank you, Mr. President. The cemetery board did not meet in February, but they do have a meeting scheduled for this Wednesday, March 12th at 8 a.m. here in council chambers.
All right. All right. Visitors' comments. The floor is now open for visitors' comments. Anyone wishing to address council should rise, state your name and address, and address all comments to the chair. You have 5 minutes. So any of our students who want to speak tonight? All right, here now, move on to council comments. Any council members with comments? Mr. Alonso.
Yes, Mr. President, especially now as we're searching for different ways of getting new revenue for the city. I had the law director look into previous ordinances that we passed in the past that would ban recreational and medical marijuana. And he answered me and did his research on it, and that would be ordinances 51320 and 51317. We would have to repeal those ordinances to be able to have those ability of having those dispensaries legally here in the city. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen Goshen Township's number, which is the one pretty much in our city as we speak right now, is $256,000. I mean, as we're scraping for dollars right now, I think it would be smart, at least start the talking process. And I would ask you, Mr. President, since this is an economic issue, that Public Works and Economics is my committee, that I think it would be an appropriate committee to be assigned to me.
Let me note that those original ordinances were in my committee.
But I can sign whatever.
Right.
Mr.
Just,
Alonso?
just to note,
Yep. Duly noted. And you're on his committee, so, Mr. Alonso, you can take those into your committee to research and talk about.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr.
I'd like to speak.
Simulink.
So, you know, I feel like council has been a little bit under fire here lately with how articles have been written in paper, how things are happening from the administration, and it's become a little bit of frustrating, I think, for all of us on council. I know I spoke last September, October, and I said, this is gonna be a very tough budget, and I challenged administration and also council to come up with ideas to potentially cut expenses. And I haven't heard a single one come from anybody on administration. And then we get a paper, you know, in the newspaper about the courts that brought in $1 million, and council didn't approve them. The streets, council didn't approve them to get them more money. That's how it's And so, you know, we're all part-time here, and I lean on administration to come up with ideas. And I haven't heard a single one that they have came up with to cut expenses. And then I have to hear the auditor just now say, well, I just realized if council passes, I have to do it. It's March 9th. We've seen nothing. Last year, we got it the last week of March. I also said in the fall, when I spoke publicly, you can go back and listen to it, I said, I don't want to get this the last meeting in March. And guess what's going to happen? We're getting it the last week of March. This is becoming completely, I don't even know how, I probably can't say it nice, so I probably shouldn't. But this is just absurd that what we're put under to pass this budget. And I still have not heard one person come up with anything to cut expenses. Not one. And here we are, March 9th, and we got one more meeting scheduled. We're all gonna be in here extra to pass this budget. And I'm at the point right now where I wanna say no until administration comes up with something. You know, and that's why I asked Marvin, what happens if I do say no? And you see how drastic that is, but that's how frustrated I am. And I know there's some other council members that maybe aren't as outspoken as me. They're extremely frustrated as well. And I just felt like I wanted to get that on the record because what we're being put under is absolutely insane to me. That we have not seen anything as of March 9th. And there's still been nothing to cut expenses. And you know, we're asking fire and safety to cut, we're asking street department to cut. Those are the most important things we offer other than water and sewer. And that's what I just heard come out of the auditor's mouth is fire, police, and street. I didn't hear anything about the courts, the health department, the parks, anything else. But like the most important people we're talking about is that's who we're being asked to, like, asking to cut. Like, you're asking Kevin to cut. He's already down 7 people. You're asking Ron to cut. He can't even like pave a road. So 6 months ago, I asked for this and nothing has happened. And Mayor Day isn't here right now, but that's who I'm talking to. Mayor Day, the auditor, service director, I know you're doing your best. Kevin, I know you're doing your best, but where we're at right now, this is insane. So I just want to speak that out, because I said it last Thursday, and it wasn't on record, so I'm saying it on record. And there's a reason why, and I said this last Thursday, all 4 of them ran, no one ran against them. The 3 of us, no one ran against us, because no one wants this job because of this. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thanks for your comments. Any other comments? Mr. Sears?
Mr. Crime speaks much more eloquently than I do about the situation, but we share a lot of the same feelings. And, you know, I think a lot after the fact, and I thought a lot after the last meeting, I think a lot after all the meetings, but, you know, the service director was mentioning a budget that he was concerned about, and I had not even seen it. I don't think anybody's even seen it, so it's like people are talking about things as if they've seen them, but council hasn't. And I think, you know, my mindset is always a unified front, right? I want everybody to work together to be successful. I think there's too much division as it is in the world, and I don't think being split up on things is healthy for anything. But I feel like we're getting into this situation, and as Mr. Crimeville just said, the auditor kind of echoed the same thing, as it's like, well, if council decides it, that's what I do. I'm not a wastewater expert, I'm not a street department expert, I'm not an expert in any of these things. I can only rely on what you tell me and what everybody else here tells me. We say we're high, but we don't say what to cut, we don't know how high we are. We can't do anything until we have numbers to better understand where we're at. And so I just think, and I even, to Mr. Crimeville's point, there was an article, there was a comment on, I know I shouldn't look at Facebook, but I do, there was a comment on the WTUZ article that, you know, they were praising the service director for announcing his concerns about the state of the street department as if it was council's fault that we're here. And I just feel like, you know, we get information to vote on projects, and if it sounds like we're being told the truth, then we vote on the project. But we're not in the day-to-day. You know, like Mr. Kreinbill said, I mean, this is, you know, a secondary job for most of us, and we try our best to see what we can see, but I don't like where it's going. And I don't like the fact that, like Mr. Kreinbill said, I'm gonna be given a budget. Either we're gonna make it so nobody gets paid. I'm never gonna understand this budget if you give it to me a week before it's due, right?
Right.
There's no way. You're gonna give me a 100-page budget, and I'm gonna be able to comprehend that. But what else do I do? Do we shut down the, no, we don't wanna shut down the city, that's not healthy either. So I just, thank you for bringing that up. Sorry for rambling, but
No, and
very
I get
much-
the frustration, I'm frustrated too, it's just with this past year, with the 4 unions, negotiations, and I said all along, I really don't think, we don't have the money to pay for 2026. We might have it to pay 2025, we don't have in the budget to pay for these increases in 2026. There was some things thrown out, well, we could do this or that, all of those have basically been shut down for one way or another. You know, people said maybe have the tax increased, you know, we didn't wanna do that, but, there's no tax increase that's gonna happen. No voter is gonna vote on a tax increase. We talked about, lowering the amount
and
of
just-
tax paid to another city, and that's not gonna happen. That, now, as of October, I believe it was October, a House bill is now, was presented that anything after August 1st, and I'm not sure where that bill is. I think it's still out there, it hasn't been passed or denied, but, now you can't do that situation that we talked about. Somebody had mentioned borrowing from enterprise funds, and you
Nope.
really can't do that, but these are things that were being thrown out while we were doing your negotiations. I said, we can't afford the increases in 2026 unless expenses are majorly cut, or you find some other kind of revenue, and I don't know what other kind of revenue to, that's going to supplement that. That we've lost several grants, and, you know, we had many COVID grants and those types of things that lasted for years, and those are all gone. So we're having to absorb all of this into the general fund. And I've said all along, we didn't have the revenue for this. In the October and November budgets that we got, I said those are too high. Somebody's got to cut somewhere. And got revised budgets at the end of last week, and they're even higher. So I don't know, I was
But
hoping that they'd
just-
be
Mrs.
cut.
Lauder,
and
And then-
I know this is council comments, so I don't wanna go too long, but
Right.
I understand all that. But that's something that you have to work out with the administration.
You
And that should have been worked out in December. I don't,
Well, you
And
sat
department heads.
in the union I didn't, mayor did, I didn't. And we were told as council, hey, you can vote no, but it's gonna go to arbitration and cost us more.
That's
That's
what
what I was
too.
told by the administration,
Yes.
as a council member, just so everybody's aware of that. That's what I was told. So,
That's what I was told also, that it's going to go to arbitration, you're going
but
to
you
have
were
the
part
fees
of the
on top
union
of that.
contracts, I wasn't, just so you know.
I didn't even sign one of the union contracts because things were changed after the fact that
Okay,
what I was presented with was changed when I went to go sign that contract. So I didn't sign it. That was, not that I don't think they deserve it, I absolutely think they deserve it. You just don't have the funds to support it. And that's the same way with when you wanted to get the non-bargaining raises, and I said, we can't afford that, we don't have it in our revenue, we don't have the revenue to support those. And then I even said, if you're gonna do it, at least just do it for the 1 year, and it was for the 3 years. And then there was another department that gave themselves raises at the end of last year, this is between October and December, when we should have been finalizing the budget. And then at the end of January, or beginning of February, I got the revised handbook that offered more incentives to non-bargaining and more payouts and vacation time on top of the raises that I said we can't afford. And that's what I contacted the state just recently. I said, what can I do? They said nothing. You can't do anything. If you have unless we don't have the cash. But at that point, you can't afford to pay the employees.
All right. Ms. Ramos, you had a comment?
So I agree with the frustration expressed by, Mr. Crimebill and Mr. Sears, and I understand that, but I'm not gonna blame it on Heather. You're not gonna hear that from me. I understand the frustration. It's happened for many years. I've been on council longer than you guys. And it is frustrating to not see a budget, not, or even a department budget or a list of the capital improvement that we need to have in this city. That helps us, council, who votes on where the money goes, to understand what is going on. With, replacement list and what needs to happen with that, instead of kind of like, oh yeah, hey, this needs to be replaced. And I can give you a small example. In my own home, our hot water heater died, just a few months after the warranty, right? And so we had to replace it. And we actually had a budget where we anticipate those expenses, not only for that, but for other things. And that's just a microcosm, I understand, of this budget. But my point being, knowing what you have in your budget, and so, and even the department heads, hey, I got this much money I can spend, and when it's coming in and posted to their account. Like, for example, I know when my retirement check comes in, and I don't spend that before I get it, right? So I know when it's coming. I have researched that. I'm up to date on that. So, and you can do and the department heads are in this too, knowing exactly what you have, when it comes, and when you can spend it. And I think some of the meetings that we had, I noticed that was a problem. Because you can't spend money before you get it. And the other thing too, with increasing revenue, we usually think of taxes, and I've said, I'm not gonna vote on tax to increase. The thing of it is, in money management classes, they tell you that if you have problems with your spending, you have to work within your budget and cut up your credit cards, which is increased revenue. So you have to learn how to spend within your budget. And whatever that is, citywide or whatever, and that's what I have to say.
All right. But wouldn't it, Heather, make sense to get all the department heads? I mean, should have already been done, but we need to have you meet with department heads for the mayor to come up with these dollar amounts. Because I agree, here we're gonna come down to the last hour and have a budget to try and approve. So I don't know, if finance committee or whatever, we need to get together several times maybe to come up with a honest budget where we can spend.
My only comment, if I may,
Yes.
would just be, we have to have deadlines. And set the deadlines, and if you need help, we'll help. But to just not have a deadline, it's gonna be the same thing over and over. And the deadlines need to be October. Every department can present, and then in December, we finalize, and it's done.
Mr. President, if I
Yes,
could add,
Mr.
I know
McAleer.
that Brian has asked about it, or Councilman Sears has asked about it. The original budgets were all done in October. Why you didn't get it, I don't know, Brian. But the superintendents have all had that stuff since October, I'd say the latest.
Yeah, but
Why
I
it
think
hasn't been
we,
shared with you, I don't know.
but we did that, and then we did the raises, I thought. So my understanding was
They
that
were supposed to revise it.
what was done was basically out of date, because it wasn't
Not anybody that I was
capturing the
over,
raises.
because I had them put it in. So, if that's what you're
Yeah,
thinking,
it was that.
not on anything
That wasn't
on
clear to
ours.
me, I guess. I don't know if anybody else.
Well, I certainly can speak, there was no budget I submitted that didn't factor in, the raises that were agreed upon. So I don't know if that was directed at me, but,
No.
my departments did not do that. I think one of the challenges is, in theory, everything we said is correct, but you can only operate with the information you're provided. And deadlines have to go both ways. If you want me to have a deadline, you gotta give the information to me I need to make the decision I need to make. And to be candid with you, that just has not happened. There's been conversations. My recollection of maybe the auditors, some scenarios are a little different, but, ultimately, I understand the frustration. I too am frustrated, because it's very hard to provide an operational budget and make operational decisions and administrative decisions without the information you have. So we can sit here and say, hey, you should have cut, you should have cut. When you never get a number to cut and you have no idea what you need to cut, it makes it very challenging for us. So I too agree that the budgeting process has a lot of opportunity for improvement, and the timelines have to be different to stay out of this.
I guess my question also would be, I guess maybe to Councilman Rippeth, with what I'm hearing tonight, and we talked in that meeting on Thursday, should I go to general services, cemetery, park, and say, did we say 2.5%?
You decided on some amounts and some percentages that should be coming to you, to
Okay.
give you a target to spend.
Okay.
So I also want to remind you though that things are constantly changing in our office. As a matter of fact, when I had estimated revenue pretty much figured out, I get a new ordinance that we have to refigure estimated revenue again, for the cemetery. So that affects all of the departments within all of the other funds, well, within the general fund. So as I'm increasing cemetery for that percentage, I have to also reduce the revenue that's going into the general fund. So things are constantly changing, and I think
Actually,
that's
if you
just.
look, that one increases general fund, it reduced the
No.
capital. Yeah, it's a higher amount going into general fund than did last year.
But it's still only, it will be less in the long run because you're putting more money into cemetery. So you're still capping it at $300,000 going into master capital, and then the rest is going into, but because we're increasing the amount going into the cemetery, that's decreasing the amount that's going into general fund.
We
We're
increased
just-
both. By taking the 2% away, we increased both. And still are not
You
funding the
increased, yeah, you
cemetery.
increased the
Okay.
general fund by 1% in order to put less master capital in upfront and stretch that out.
So we did increase the immediate amount going into
Going
general
in
fund.
the immediate amount.
That's my point. I don't
But
wanna make it
over
sound
the
like we took
year-
it out of general
No,
fund.
no, over the year, it will be less money going into general fund because.
But that
there's
money
an
would
extra-
also have come out of the general fund to go to the cemetery. We have that proven.
Correct.
So it is a wash.
But again, it changed, so I had to change the estimated
But you were given
revenue.
that when we were in our work committee meeting. We told you, go with those numbers and we will get the legislation. So you've had those. So
For 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Do we know, I guess, because that's why I asked Marvin to find out where, if we got an additional, well, not even back to where it was cemetery-wise, where did the 1% get removed from? That's my question.
This
I can
time
answer
here,
that.
Yeah.
The 1%
Master
that you're
capital.
talking about, we did have a 10% initial amount that went into master capital.
Okay,
We reduced that to 8%.
okay, that's
Until
my
the
question.
300,000, and we divided those 2 percentage points between cemetery and general fund.
All right, thank you. That was my question. You don't have to look for that then, Marvin.
Okay.
so I did get this 2 weeks ago, and I did ask for a meeting on, I think it was Monday, to discuss how we're gonna divide this up. And the meeting, they came back that they could meet on Friday.
Okay, all right, let's move on. to our executive session. It is
Carl, kids can leave.
All right, we're back in session now. We'll move on to our legislative agenda. Ms. Courtwright.
Resolution number 3, 2026, a resolution by the council of the city of New Philadelphia, Ohio, authorizing the mayor to execute annexation petitions for city-owned property and authorizing the annexation of real property located in Goshen Township as listed herein and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Is there any action to be taken by council on this resolution? Mrs. Ramos.
I move that we suspend the rules on resolution 2026.
3, 2026.
3/2026, that's not what I said, sorry.
Mr. Second, thank you. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Who was second?
Brian?
Okay.
Doesn't
All right.
happen often,
Mrs.
but
Ramos.
tonight.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Rippet.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
All right, roll with that been suspended. Now, Mrs. Ramos.
I move that resolution 3/2026 be passed.
Do I have a second? Mr. Simmerling, thank you. In discussion by the public, administration, council, roll call.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Rippet.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
All right, resolution 3/2026 has passed.
That concludes legislation
All
for
right,
this evening.
thank you, Ms. Courtwright. Is there any unfinished old business? Any new business? An entertaining
Can I-
motion? Yes, Mrs. Campbell,
Sorry.
yes.
I just noticed that the finance committee had the ordinance 3/2026, so we probably need to change that.
No, that's ordinance, their ordinance, mine's
resolution.
resolution.
Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry.
I get confused too. All right, no further business, Mr. Lanzer.
So moved, Mr. President.
All right, we are adjourned at 9:08.
Michelle?
Thanks everyone for your